Hello everyone, this is General Hand Grenade. Welcome to my war room in Prince George, British Columbia. So you've seen my video of the map for version 3 of Global War 1936 to 1945 when I rolled it out, and I was looking at it for the first time just like you were when you were watching my video. This is the game all set up, and I'll show you the setups and everything in a second. I'll just pan around while I talk, okay? I'll show you some of the things though that are on here, like these things here. So these are my minor naval ports. Like you see the white thing on there, the little white anchor. You don't need any 3D pieces. I'm just a little bit nuts when it comes to that. But so for me, I had eBard make these up, and what these are is this thing here. So this would be your major naval port, right? And what he did was he cut off the big tank here. And so it's just that piece right there. Because there are well over 100 of these things on the board, right? And I did not want them taking up all the space on the board. Like you can see, I bought 3 of them, so 135, and I still didn't cover everyone. Like there's one in the States there. I think there's one down there. And there might be one other one on the board. But like 135 of them wasn't enough. Anyway, that's why I wanted just tiny ones for those. And so these would be my major naval bases. And as you can see, they're the blue anchor, right? And then, and that's what I try to do for all my minors. I colored them in white, and all my majors, I colored them in blue. So like this is a minor shipyard, right? And this would be a major shipyard. These used to be gold colored. I think I used to have them on my old game. But I wanted to make it easy for players to recognize what they were looking at when they were playing the game. So I made them the same color as they were printed on the map, right? And, printed on their maps at home. So when they came to play, then it would be easily recognizable for them. And then these things here, these used to be 4 times bigger than what they are now. I cut them down. So that's my dockyard. And they're exactly the same blue, except they're blue and white, right? So that's a white one. And if somewhere on the board, you'll find blue ones as well. I'm not seeing one. No, there's one right there in Gibraltar. So those are the dockyards, major and minor dockyards, right? Anyway, that's pretty cool. Having all of those. And another new piece that I have, I don't know if I showed it to you. I know I've had them for a little while, but I'm not so sure that because I didn't have it set up, you might not have seen it. So this is from Richard at Combat Miniatures. It's a seaplane base. And worked with him on that, trying to get him, it took a while, but this is what he came up with anyway. And I decided to color those green because blue was already taken. Now this seaplane base doesn't actually go on the map on the opening setup, which kind of surprises me. There's no seaplane bases at all on the map. But this is the only seaplane as well. So I thought I'd just put one on there so you could see it, right? But anyway, that's the only one on there. And the setups are not that much different. Like if you look here, this is a really simple one to look at. And let's just get that glare out of there. So that setup looks a lot like version 2, right? Slight changes, like here's a shipyard, because on the other one you could put ships at naval bases, but no longer. You have to put them at shipyards now, right? So there's the shipyards there. Oh, before I forget, there was a couple guys that were talking online there about the new map. They had received the new map, both of them, and they liked it and everything. They thought it was really cool, but they thought, what a huge waste of space that is in Russia. That was the same thing I thought when I first got the map for version 2, because it's basically the same size, right? But then when you start playing the game, you realize how much you need this big space here. Like it is, like if you were never going to use that, then yeah, that's a big wasted space. But these are big, beautiful boards, right? That you get with this game, and they're really nice. They're really handy. They got all the stuff on there that you need. I showed them to you in the last video, so I'm not going to go overboard showing you now. But anyway, you need these. Yeah, like you can get bottles that are that big, and then of course you're going to need your dice tray, right? And you don't have to have an extra thing for your dice, but I do. I just find it's easier than having to take the dice out and put it on the board and pick them up and use them again, because I like to use a lot of dice. You know, like I like to roll a bunch of dice at once, right? There's my dudes, there's my fighters, and there's my bomber, right? And there you go, you know? Like then you can roll them all at once, right? But anyway, look at that. Like it takes up the whole space that you thought was wasted space. And you know, like up here where these are impassable zones up here basically, that's where I've got the stuff with the money on them, right? And like I still don't even have all these things on there. I still need extra spots. But as you can see, as you go along the edge of the board, this table is 4 by 8, the same size as the map. Like if you can get a bigger table than that, then good for you. But I mean, I can't. So you've also got this thing to fit on the board. There's all my stuff for the allies over here. But like this size here, when you're on this side over here, you wish you had that much space over there that you have. But because this is all you've got here. And like you're infringing, the game hasn't even started yet. There'll be boats out here in the Indian Ocean, right? And you're having to put your stuff down, you know, and like it's just like you're kind of crowded, right? So having that extra space, believe me, when you start playing this game, then you will see that extra space is going to come in really handy. I know when you first get it, I thought exactly the same thing. I thought, what do you need all this space for, right? Nobody's ever going to play up in northern Russia, and you don't play up there. But yeah, it's really handy on a map this size. Here, I'm going to turn this down a bit now so that we can take a closer look at some of this stuff in here. So yeah, these are the setups, and lots, like you see these little white naval bases everywhere. You really begin to notice it when you start placing them on the map, how many there are. You know, like when they're just printed on there, you think, well, that's a lot of them. But then when you start taking them out of a box and placing them, it's like, holy crap, is there ever any end to this? So here, if you hadn't noticed, this is on the Historical Board Gaming website. Like this one's for the CCP, and I've got them printed for everybody. That's Free France and France, and who's this? Germany. So all of these are on the website, and you can download them and you can print them. But be aware though that these are not the final product, okay? They wanted to make this game perfect. So what they're doing is they're putting these out, and you can download them and use them. The setups are probably correct on them. Like I didn't show you the front, I showed you the front page on that one. But the setups are also in there, where to put all of your stuff, right? And those are probably correct, but there's other things. There could be typing errors. There could be other kind of errors. Like when I was setting up today, I was looking for Bessarabia because Bessarabia is on the setup chart, right? There is no Bessarabia. It's called Southern Ukraine now. So what they want you to do is, if you're going to download these things and use them, they're great, but make notes, okay? Like start making notes. Oh, this is wrong. So you know, like you got a bunch of notes. Maybe you played the game and maybe you marked up your sheets or whatever. Then send Doug an email. Tell him the things that you found wrong in the nation reference charts. That's what those are called. And then in about 2 or 3 weeks from now, then he's going to put out the final product after everybody's had a chance to go through them. Kind of like what he did with the rules, right? He wanted to make sure that everybody understood the rules. Well, it's the same thing with these reference charts. So just be aware, if you're going to download these and print these, then don't get them laminated or anything just yet, because you're just wasting your money. Like you might think with all of these that I just did, like there's tons of them. I did them all, right? And colored and everything, that I might have wasted a lot of money. But the thing is, I just bought myself a new printer yesterday because I knew I was going to be doing a lot of printing, not only with those things, but with the expansion sets, updates, and things like that. there's probably a lot of printing that I'm going to do. Plus, I use it for other things as well, right? So I got a printer that holds a ton of ink. It's got like a tank on it, right? And you use bottles to fill this thing up. So I wanted to see how that printer worked and everything. So I didn't mind downloading those. But like if you're using your own printer at home and you're just using these temporarily, you might want to just do them in black and white, right? Until the final product is ready. And I'll let you know when that is. And Doug will probably let you know too. He lets people know these kind of things on Facebook and on his website and stuff like that. But I'll let you know when I know and tell you, okay, now these things are done. Now you can get your final product, whether you laminate them or whether you do what I did with version 2 with that menu stuff. That was a really great thing to have. Then you can get your final ones done. As far as the rule books go, there was a delay in that. He had somebody doing it, but I don't know the exact story. It's not really any of my business, but they didn't really work out, the person that was doing this. So they passed it on to Doug took it back and passed it on to another person, and that person is still working through it. Like they had to go through what the other person had done, and they didn't really understand it and everything. So I can't give you an exact date on the rule books, and he's not even sure how he's going to do this yet because it's been a bit of a cluster. He's not sure if he's just going to send people their money back for the rule books, or if he's going to mail out rule books in when they're done in 2, 3, 4 weeks. I'm not sure how long it's going to be, right? Like getting it done is one thing, but then getting all those rule books printed is another, right? So, and things, like we all have to understand that things don't move the same way, and they're not, and it's going to get worse as time goes by this year. Things are not going to go like we want them to go because of this corona thing that's going around, right? This coronavirus. We don't know what's going to happen, and we're all uncertain, right? You are, and I am, and he is, and we all thought we'd have seaplanes by now, but that's just not the case. Like the factory in China is shut down right now, right? We don't know when that stuff's going to come through. But that's probably the least of your worries, the little plastic army man, right? I mean, there's going to be a lot of products that you're used to having that aren't going to be available because of that. And air travel is going to be different and things like that. So it's really tough for them to try to get a game this elaborate out in all these types of conditions, right? And just to throw that on top of it is just the kind of the kicker. But he's doing the best that he can, and he's put out a really, really wonderful map, and he's trying to do the right thing by making sure everything is perfect before he signs off on it. So that's why people like me are telling you, don't print these and laminate them just yet. Just wait until the final product is out and then do all that stuff. But you will be happy with this game, I promise you that. It's going to be a great game. So also this is I was saying at the beginning, this is also going to be an update for me. Update number 3 for the event that we have coming up in 13 days here in Prince George, and that is the Spring Offensive. We're having that at Panzer King's place in his lair, the Lion's Den. And we've got 12 people coming, 10 people coming, plus him and I. So there'll be 12 people playing. There'll be 2 tables. The scores will be added up from both tables. There's tons of prizes that Doug sent along with this map. And plus we've got prizes ourselves. Here, let me just show you the prize that I've been putting together. Let me take this out. And it's not quite done yet, but I'll let you have a sneak peek at it. Let me just, looking for a place to set it down here. Right, we'll just throw it there. So, you might remember the Russian set that I put out for Christmas. Well, this is a UK set, and it's got everything but the seaplanes, because there's no way of me getting the seaplanes. This empty spot here, this is the only thing that's missing now, and that's the militia. I have to paint some yellow bases. There will be more custom infantry going in here. I just have to go through my game because I got another set. This is another set of custom infantry. So I painted some of them. I'm going to put some of them in my game just so in this one here, you won't have any duplicates. Like it'll be probably about 20 unique sculpts. None of them will be the same. Then you've got your cavalry, right? You've got your light carriers. You've got your fleet carriers. You've even got your heavy carrier, and you've got a 3D printed heavy carrier and 3D printed. What is that? That's that's not the 3D printed one. That is the fast battleship. So you're having King George V fast battleships. You got the Axis and Allies battleships. Those will be your regular battleships, right? And then these ones, the Vanguard, that's the 3D printed one. That's the heavy battleship, and it's slightly larger than the other ones. But yeah, you got the whole thing. You've got attack transports. You've got transports. You've got artillery. You've got heavy artillery. Tanks, light tanks. A couple of different kind of mechs, so that you could use some for advanced mechs. Then there's the motorized infantry. So all the units that you need for the game, all the things. Look, I even put in some jet bombers for if you play what's that last one that they put out? Geez, I just have videos of it. It's Robert's set there. Hang on, let me just look here. The East versus West. I remembered it before I even got there. So yeah, there you go. There's your jet bombers for the East versus West. Not to be confused with your heavy bombers, which are just your regular heavy bombers. That's the Sterling. And then, of course, you've got your regular strategic bombers, which is the one from the Axis and Allies game. So you're getting everything in this set, whoever wins it. I think what we're going to do, let me see. Here, I'll just give you a quick look at this. These are the stuff that Doug sent. This is not including Panzer King stuff. So, this whole box full of crap here. Lots of good stuff in there. I'm not even going to let you go through it. There's lots of stuff in here, though. And probably what we're going to do is the winners, which are going to be the Allies. Everybody knows the Allies won World War II. Okay, maybe not the Allies in this time. But I'm one of the Allies, so I'm hoping we win. Anyway, the Allies, or whoever wins, are going to go up to the prize table, and they're going to choose a prize of their, whatever they want. And then the second place people will all go up and they'll choose their prize. And then the third place people will all go up and choose their prize. Even the third place people are going to get good prizes. Like all these prizes are going to be about the same, like about the same amount of money worth or whatever. Like we're going to make sure that they're all good. There's going to be medals. There's going to be a trophy. There's going to be everything. We've been communicating a little bit with some of the other players. Mostly we've been communicating within teams though, talking about strategy and stuff like that. But today we got together, me and Madman Dan. He helped me set up this game today. And Panzer King came over later he was working today, but he came over after work. And we talked about, more things that we were going to do. We talked about sorry, let me just grab it, I'll show you. Yeah, we talked about the optional rules we're going to use, because there's a lot of optional rules in the game. We're using most of the optional rules that are throughout the rule book. As you're reading through the rule book, you'll see, hey, you can do this too if you want. And then at the end of the book, in section 15, there are a bunch of optional rules. We're not using very many of those. So, we're going to use all the terrain. Terrain rules are optional in this game. You can play this game like an Axis and Allies game, but why would you? Why not just go play Axis and Allies if you want to play a simple game, right? You want to play Global War, then you probably want to play with the deserts and the mountains and the rivers and all that stuff, right? So we're playing with all the terrain. There's an option to do a variable ending, right? And I think that what we're going to do is we're going to just play the first 2 days to find out how far we get. And then when we get there to play Monday morning, it just depends on how far we've gotten in the game. That's when we'll all decide, all 12 of us decide whether or not we're going to play with the variable ending, because that can add 3 or 4 or 5 turns onto a game, right? So if we've only got 2 or 3 turns left in a game, then fine, let's play with the variable ending. But if we've still got 6, 7 turns left, then I don't think we can commit to that, because at the end of it, we're going to be giving out the prizes, and we've also got to total up all the points and everything, right? So that'll be a game time decision on whether we play with the variable ending. Moving on, 9.12, that's surface convoy rating. We're going to play with that one, but no carriers though. Like the rule states something like, I'm paraphrasing here, that any surface ship that has a movement of 3 can raid convoys. But it doesn't say anything about carriers in there. We're saying no carriers because they don't have a combat value. There is the 9.14. It's aircraft convoy rating. We're saying yes to that. So, and that's something that you have to do with combat air patrol, right? And so, given that you have to do that, then your aircraft carrier would have to be in the space next to it anyway. We're saying you can't move 3 spaces with an aircraft on top of your carrier and then raid a convoy. We're just not going to let you do that. So yes to surface rating of convoys, but not with carriers unless you're also doing the aircraft rating as well, right? And then mines, there's you can convoy raid by laying mines. We're going to say yes to that as well. So we want to get the full scope of the convoy rating rules. We want to just jump right into those and just see how badly the Axis can beat the crap out of the UK. Okay. Anyway, so that's 9.12 and 9.13 and 9.14 in the rule book for the guys that are coming. We're playing with those rules. Now 10.2, it's just called a combat reinforcement. We're going to try that one out as well. So that is where you can you attack somebody, right? And normally you can't move stuff into that zone. Like let's say these guys took this out, right? And took that zone. Well, now you couldn't move anybody else into them in non-combat, right? But this is not exactly what I was showing you here, but it's more of it's about reinforcing your bases. So if you were reinforcing some type of major naval base, then you could do it amphibiously with ground units. If you were reinforcing an air base, like you could take over a territory, and if there was an air base like here, then you could non-combat move a plane into there. When it was time to take over the territory, or after you had taken over the territory, sorry. So there's that, and there's one other one. Anyway, you'll read it. It's 10.2 combat base reinforcement. We're going to use the different railway gauges. So you look here, and Russia has a different gauge than Europe has, right? Like the railway actually looks different. Actually, I'm looking here. It doesn't look different. I wonder what happened there. Anyway, the railway gauge changes when it gets to Russia. So that's going to be a part of this. That's weird. Oh no, you can tell. I just wasn't looking closely enough. You have to look closer, and these black dots are a lot closer together than these ones. So we're going to use those railway gauge changes. So that means you won't be non-combat strategic rail moving something from here all the way over to here, right? Like you'll have to stop when you get to Russia, and then next move you can go from there to there, right? Anyway, we're going to use 15.10. That's strategic naval movement. So if you look on the nation's reference cards, you'll see each nation has a limit of how many units they can do strategic naval movement. And bear in mind that you can't strategic naval move anything you want. It's only transports or the things that go on transports. So if your strategic naval movement is 3, then you could only move a transport and say a dude in a tank. I don't know. You could move those things 5 spaces, and they would have to go from friendly naval base to a friendly naval base, right? So there's that. Or you could move 3 transports. You know what I mean? But you couldn't move a battleship and a transport and a destroyer. It doesn't work that way. It's only for transports and the stuff that they transport. So that's strategic naval movement 15.10. We're also going to do 15.2. That's the Suez reroute. So what that means is if Britain is not in, or any of the Allies are not in possession of the Suez Canal, then we're saying that you can't raid Britain's convoy line here. It's worth 6. What you will do instead, if Britain loses that, then that convoy line over there, the East Africa line, and the one over there, the West Africa line, both of those will have 3 added to it. Like that adds up to that 6, right? Because obviously the British are not convoying anything through here if they've lost the Suez Canal, right? So take it out of here and put it on the outside, okay? So the ones that I didn't mention those are the only ones we're playing. The ones that I didn't mention we're not playing, okay? I don't see it here, but I know that we talked about one thing we're not doing is you can't combat move through you can't convoy through a canal, so, combat move through a canal. So let me just take you down there and show you what I mean, because you have that option, right? So let's say Italy here has a couple of transports, right? They can't load them up, and then they're not at war right now, right? So they go through the Suez Canal, they're not at war, and then they attack this French colony down here. We're saying you can't do that. You were able to do that in the version 2 of the rules, because technically you weren't at war when you went through the canal here. But that's kind of bogus, right? Like, I mean, if Italy loaded up their transports and their warships, and they went down through the Suez Canal, the British would have figured that out, right? Like, it's kind of cheesy that you could do that before. It was kind of a loophole in the rules as far as we were concerned. So the Italians can move through there all they want with all that stuff, but they can't attack somebody when they do it. Like, they could put all their stuff down here on Eritrea if they wanted, and then the following turn they could declare war and attack that colony if they wanted, but they just can't combat move through there and attack somebody at the same time, right? And say, well, we're not at war here, but now we're at war, so here we go. That's just not going to be allowed. So that's one of the rules that we're playing, is that one. And that's about it as far as the optional rules. Everything's coming along though, like the prizes are coming along. We wish we were going to get the rule books before, but it doesn't look like we're going to get any rule books before. If they're able to download the rule books, like if there's a PDF that comes out, then I will certainly print that off. Otherwise, we're just going to be going by the rules that I sent out to you already. I don't think the rules are going to change. I'm pretty sure they're not changing. They're just not going to look as pretty. Like, you're just getting the black and white version without the pictures is basically what you're getting, right? So it's the same rules. It just we're not getting the rule books, and that's just unavoidable. Now, as far as expansion sets, it looks like we're going to play the expansion sets that we were planning on playing before. So that's Turkey, Turkey at war, and then the Spanish Civil War, and Canada at war, and Commanders, and I don't know if I'm forgetting anything. But anyway, we're playing those ones. The updates on those are going to be out on Monday. I was talking with Doug just before I started filming tonight, and he says that he's going to put those out on Monday. He said the only one he doesn't have done is zombies. All the other ones are done. And I said, well, you don't have to finish zombies. But he didn't think that was as funny as I did, so whatever. Anyway, so all of you can look for that, the update for version 3 of the rules for expansion sets. You can look for those. And those I don't think are going to be written in stone either, so you might want to just take a look at those and see if you can find any mistakes in them, right? And if you find any mistakes, then he will redo them as well, right? But we're just in the process of trying to make everything perfect for this game, make everything right, and we're sourcing that with the community, right? We had some pretty good people working on it, and they came up with a good game, but nothing works as good as having everybody out there saying, I don't understand this, what do you mean? And then so rewording it so that everybody can understand, or making sure we put that comma in and dot that I and cross that T, right? So that's what we're trying to do right now, and look for those on Monday morning. Doug said he's gonna upload all the PDFs for those up on his website on Monday morning for the version 3 of the expansion sets. So all of that will be done for us. But that's not going to be the final ones either, and I don't just mean for mistakes, because there's other guys that are working on updating those, like the Spanish Civil War. The Spanish Civil War is going to change. There's going to be more chips that are involved, and those chips are going to have units, like elite units, things like that. I'm not going to get into it with you. I've seen them, but so there's going to be changes as well. Some of them just didn't work very well. Some of the expansion sets, like they were made a long time ago, probably for the 1939 game, right? I don't know. I wasn't around for that, but they just don't work very well for this game. And so they're going through them and saying, hey, how can we make these better? How can we make these work, right? And so that's what they're doing. So you can look for those at some point in the future. But like I said, it's been a massive challenge trying to get this game out and trying to get everything done at the same time. And like everybody wants changes, like they did all their pre-orders and everything, and then they wanted different things. And so you can understand why maybe you didn't get exactly what you were supposed to get. He also hired a new guy, so one of the things that you might look for is your complexes. If you ordered the set of complexes for version 3, the guy that he hired put in the complexes for version 2, like the like I had made him a list for both, right? And so they're having to send out more for you guys. So you might have received the small amount first and wondering, what the hell, this is what I ordered, I didn't pay all that money for just a couple of complexes. Don't worry, there's more coming. They know which orders that they got wrong, because they know which orders they put out already, and so they're going to they're going to fix those orders. But with so many people ordering this game, and with so many changes made, you know what I mean? Like everybody, you know what? I wasn't going to get that complex set, and now I am, and it's been a real challenge, I guess. All I can say is better if Doug was doing this instead of me, because I probably would have just flipped out and said, you know what, I'm going to retire. I'm glad he didn't, though. Anyway, so I don't think I got anything else I want to tell you. I really just wanted to show you how cool this map was all set up, and talk to the people that are coming here. I'm going to send out an email tomorrow with some of the finer points, some of the stuff that you need to know behind the scenes. And looking forward to meeting all you guys in about 13 days. And for the rest of you out there, we're looking forward to having a great tournament and having you join us, because there is just going to be a ton of us with cameras, right? Old Man Sarge, I think I even forgot to mention him last time. There's so many YouTubers coming. Old Man Sarge is going to be there. He's going to be one of the allies, so I'm cheering for him, even though he's on the other table. So there's him, and there's Rank Carcass, and Hilltop Pillbox, and like it just goes on and on. Pagan's going to be there, and some hand grenade guy. I can't remember what his first name was. I think he was a private or something. Anyway, lots of guys going to be there, and I probably forgot some more this time. But half the people there are going to be doing filming, believe me. So you guys are going to be joining us whether you like it or not. Anyway, take care, everyone. General Hand Grenade out.